Okay, friends, I'm here with Eden, and I forgive me just in advance. Forgive me if I say your name wrong at all. One of my best friends from college, her name is Eden. So every time I see that name, I just want to say, I want to say it that way. But Eden, I'm so excited to have you here. Truly so excited. And
Mm.
I just can't wait for this whole conversation to unfold. You do so much with, the EFT tapping and just so much about the self discovery. And I can, like, when I saw you, I don't even remember if we connected, I think on Threads probably. But I remember looking at your profile recently and just being like, wow, she just has so much to share. Hey, friend, welcome to the Ready to Rise podcast. This is the podcast for ambitious, successful women who've checked off all the boxes: the career, the routines, the self help books, and therapy. We've done it all. But if you're still feeling numb, stuck, or like you're just going through the motions, you're in the right place. Because I've totally been there, and I've healed myself using the tools that I now teach. I got certified in them so that I could help other women do the same. I'm your host, Audrey Rose, a registered nurse and somatic life coach, and I'm here to help you stop just coping, stop just going through the motions, and actually start feeling good again in your life, feeling happy again. Each week, we explore nervous system regulation, emotional wellness, and rituals that are rooted in ancient wisdom, ancient practices, so you can stop just going through the motions and stop just getting by and start really feeling lit up and alive and fully plugged in again. This is about real happiness, the kind that fills your body, lights you up, and helps you create a life that you are obsessed to wake up for. So are you ready? Because I'm excited to help you feel like you again. So, I'm just gonna kind of hand it over to you. And I really just love to hear people's stories, as we kick off the podcast. Like, how did you get to where you are now? What's your story, your healing journey? Like, introduce yourself and then just dive right in.
Okay. Oh, thank you, Audrey. I
Yeah.
love your name, by the way. And funnily enough, I'm based in Mexico, and here they say Eden. So
Right.
actually, how curious. And I'm like, oh, I'm Eden now, but
Yeah.
so so fun. Mm-hmm. So this question, right? It's like, which point do you choose to
I know.
you know? But
Yeah.
I would say that um, at uni, basically, and at school, actually, I discovered a passion for the Spanish language. And at the same time, I felt like, especially in university, that my emotional needs were just like, there was just something there that I wasn't feeling great in myself with. And I was like, what is happening? So I got into meditation and shadow work. It was a very introspective, um, start, let's say, very much like going inwards and what am I feeling and actually relating it to the body, like, okay, we can go into the story and like, I understand this is really affecting me, but like, how am I feeling it physically? And over the years, I'm like, wow, the safety and feeling our sensations, right? Like really just, I think that's such a beautiful point. Like, wow, feeling safe in recognizing what we're feeling and allowing it to unravel or whatever. Um, but the story, so I mentioned the passion for the Spanish language because it brought me out to Mexico, where I feel like England. So I grew up in London and studied over there. And
Yeah.
I feel like that was like, let's say, the cooking point or a lot of pressure internally created and discomfort that I never understood within myself.
Mhm.
And then
Mhm.
coming to Mexico, I feel like that was like coming into an alchemical container sort of thing and
Mhm.
starting to get familiarized with trauma, what is trauma, and this sort of perspective now, trauma healing and the actually trauma being stored in the body is more like these responsive that responses that haven't been able to be lived or expressed, right?
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, so Mexico has been like my ground for that learning.
Yeah.
And last year was when I came into contact with a guy called, known on Instagram as Moss Jeff, and he combines tapping essentially with shadow work and many
Wow.
different understandings. He's really amazing. He really inspires me. And so I trained up with him in this modality, essentially tapping with shadow work and
Yeah.
modes of inquiry, right? And so that's a brief yeah, explanation verbally of the path of like, okay, here I am now, still learning and uncovering, but using tapping particularly and this natural inclination towards the shadow and like, whoa, like uncovering all that is there that can be so interesting, and that
Yeah.
those sensations or just internal discoveries now, I find that realm so interesting,
Oh, cool.
even though it can be and is uncomfortable at times.
Yeah. That's what I
Yeah.
was thinking when you mentioned how he's kind of matching the shadow work with it, making it even deeper. Because usually I feel like EFT is something that is kind of, I don't want to say surface level, but in a sense, compared to some of the deeper, breath work or something that might really get into that subconscious a lot quicker. Um, so matching it with shadow work, I could see how that could get really deep really quick. But the point that I was going to make that I would love for you to chat about is why we do it with a practitioner then. If we're going to do something that goes really deep, we want somebody to be there with us so that we can then process, not just be sitting home alone doing that,
Yeah.
if it gets really deep, or being in a community even, like when I host a lot of these somatic tools that I do with, my community online, it's always like in a community so we can process things.
That. Yeah. I think you speak to a really important point that I'm only becoming aware of in the last year, the
Yeah.
aspect of really connecting and feeling safe to be seen, heard, and the healing that happens in connecting with
Hmm.
people, and our nervous systems, right?
Yeah.
In that. Um, so I'd say the beauty and importance of having a practitioner and being held in a space, whether that be one-on-one for preference and then on and groups, and a community, as you say,
Hmm.
is that first of all, obviously holding yourself, there are certain parts of you automatically that have to stay online. Like there is a certain,
Yeah.
let's say, extra energy expenditure or something that,
Yeah.
that practicing staying in awareness when feeling what can come up. And so having the practitioner, not only does it like allow the parts of you that need to be in curious awareness to sort of rest of it because you're being met with
Hmm.
questions and able to feel being held with someone who you connect with and feel safe with. I feel that that automatically opens up like the container for you to be able to delve deeper within to yourself and inquire, like you're receiving
Yeah.
those that I feel like questions are a love language. So it's like receiving those questions,
Yeah.
and allowing what your body and what you have inside to come up and you to voice it. And honestly, it gives me goosebumps. The feeling sometimes of saying something that has been stored within for so long and to feel heard and living that emotional experience and being reflected
Hmm.
back at times. And this is, I think, so important in the connection realm, receiving empathy in a place where you've never been met with connection empathy before is like,
Yes.
oof. Mm,
Yeah. I
mm-hmm.
don't know for you, which, I definitely want to get into a little deeper with your story, but I know for me growing up, it was very much like the household that wanted me to shut down my emotions continuously. Like my parents just couldn't, they just didn't have the capacity to deal with my emotions. And I was a very sensitive, oh, I still am very sensitive, very sensitive. But So I think that like these practices and being in these communities and everything, it get like you just said, it's like you're allowed to be seen for who you really are, and knowing that it's okay, and you're allowed to process and really just help you to be in touch more with your emotions when maybe you grew up like having to really suppress them.
Yeah. And when we can feel safe and that our sensitivity is a strength. When you said the sensitive,
Yeah.
I was like, I feel you
Yeah.
totally. And the ways in which we learn to just hide, yeah, various parts of ourselves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you feel like EFT, because and we should probably get into a little bit of what it really is, but I feel like it does help us to release a lot of these blocks so that we can like stop hiding in a way, maybe with
Yeah.
time.
Yeah. Is that something you've experienced? Or what's your
Yeah,
relation?
really, like when I first got into, I think just my entire journey, like I don't think it's even just the somatic healing part, but I think it's my whole healing journey as a total, and spirituality, everything. It really did open me up to finally like love myself again, I guess. I feel like for so long I had hidden myself completely, and then finally it was like, as I first started this journey, it started with books, which I think a lot of people kind of do, because it's like, let me just go to Barnes and Nobles and like get like a self-help book. And I remember like hiding them. Like I literally would make my own with like computer paper. I'm like staring at it. With paper, I would hide the covers, like make a book cover. Or I would just read them only at home, and hide it under my bed so that my boyfriend at the time couldn't like see. But
Oh,
anyways, like with time and with like learning myself and just practicing, especially with the spiritual component, like really learning who I am and just feeling more connected, that really helped me to start to just stop caring like what anybody else thought, as far as my journey, and really start to uncover parts of myself and know that, like we're not broken, like we're really not. And that helped me a lot. But then adding in like specifically tapping on top of that has truly like helped to unblock a lot of the other things that come up, even with stress kind of getting stagnant in the body, or just thinking, limiting beliefs, that kind of thing. Just tapping through certain things has helped to clear that even more.
well, it's beautiful to hear and how that, yeah, came into play for you, right?
Yeah.
Feel you on that.
Will you walk us through kind of like what it even is? So we're kind of, they have heard, the listeners here have definitely heard a little bit before about tapping, so they have a general idea. But I would
Okay,
love to chat, just kind of what it is.
got you. Okay, so so EFT, emotional freedom technique, is essentially a healing and self-relaxation tool modality. And the way that I was introduced to it is like, as well, beyond the tool, it's like an art form. Like we can bring in certain structure within it and be intuitive to allow our emotions to be felt and heard and create that safe space container. Um, but so many different angles, and it's so enriching. So I'm like, ooh, which angle? But
Yeah.
that so self relaxation essentially, and I'll mention we tap on different points. There's 12 meridian lines, and we go through a cycle of points to be able to tap into literally all the meridian systems. The ones using acupuncture, the Chinese traditional
Yeah.
medicine. So yeah, that's the idea. And so part of it, right, which you obviously would have experienced, is when
Yeah.
we tap and we bring in like these let's say, I'm going to use the word distressing, but it could just be
Sure.
stressful or uncomfortable or something that we haven't got resolution around emotionally, which sure can
Yeah.
show up mentally and whatever. But
Yeah.
coming onto the emotional body, it's like we can bring in, okay, even though I feel anxiety, and it's like feeling that anxiety and allowing the body to feel that, and allowing the tapping, what it does physiologically is bring in like a self-soothing response. So over time, it allows, yeah, the parasympathetic nervous system to be activated in that discomfort. And it's like,
Yeah.
okay, you're safe, even though like I'm feeling a lot of discomfort, like I am safe in my body right now, and it is safe to notice what I'm feeling, that connection to your body, and bringing
Yeah.
you into that space to connect with yourself. Yeah. And obviously, it branches in and leads into like positive transformation. That is what the whole like intention is. But it is a great tool to go into like discomfort and unresolved things, which we can say are traumas, and also play with as well, like feeding into those like limiting beliefs and blockages, literally, and like
Yeah.
opening them up, feeling what's there, and freeing that energy and tapping into like new potential and that direction you want to go in, or what you want to feel and be, and allowing it. Yeah, really allowing it. I don't know if you felt that in, yeah, your experiences.
It's so cool. Yeah. Like, because even at first, I remember, I think back when I first did a couple of times, I dipped my toe in really slow to this modality. Like, I was at kind of like I think it was like a women's business conference, but somebody there was doing EFT. And that was, I think, the first time I really did it. And I remember thinking very logically, like very stuck in my head, where I was like, why are we bringing up all the negative stuff? Like, why are we talking about all the negative? And why am I wanting to feel the feelings in my body that seem to be negative? And then I kind of understood, like, at the very end of the experience, like, okay, like it's because it brought us through into the response or into the feeling we want to be coming into. But I remember just being like, so like logically trying to think about it, like what are we doing, what's happening, and not surrendering fully to the process. So I would love to hear if you have any advice for like that kind of girl like me back then. Like tell,
Yeah.
like how can she like just surrender and trust it? Cuz what happened is I thought about it too logically and too much, and I didn't try it again for probably a year. And then I started doing it more frequently. But I think I just got so in my head that I was like, this isn't going to work.
When you got so in your head, was it about why it was working, like actually understanding why, or what was the catch there? What was it that?
I think really what the catch was why are we thinking about kind of like the negative stuff, or why or maybe negative's not the best word, but why am I thinking about the pre-transformation? Like
Yeah.
I just kept thinking like that can't be good. like we like we shouldn't be talking about, like
It's
I
not
don't want
gonna
to
make
think about that. We're
change.
going to call more of that in. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel you. Oh, I have compassion for that part.
Right.
um, I did you understand? Because I feel like if we're as well to honor that part, right? Sometimes where
Mhm.
I can imagine that it's like, why am I going to let go and allow myself to feel all this when I have no guarantee that I'm going to feel better after this? Like, why
Oh gosh.
am
Yeah, and that's
I?
how it is with a lot of these tools. Yeah, yeah, I love that.
um, yeah. So I'm also wondering, when you, with that catch and your experience, did you understand like the information, like in a way I see it as a support, like that understanding of, hey, we're actually tapping into the what's here, the pre-transformation, the uncomfortable, but with the intention to allow that stuck energy or whatever's there to be felt to flow through, because you're actually that way regaining your energy and self, which correlates to self-trust with yourself, safety, connection. um I feel like knowing that is
Mhm.
would be a step for someone in that space of like, I don't want to trust this. Did you know that beforehand, or was that
You
not?
know what? That's such a good point because I don't think I fully understood. Yeah.
Okay. So I feel like that would be a nice point, because I do feel like, yeah, sometimes having that information and receiving that mentally and understanding does allow a certain safety to come in, to allow us to trust, to
Yeah.
open up to something. So I think that's
Yeah.
really beautiful, and to honor that, just that part of us that wants to know that, hey, am I going to be okay? Like going into this,
Yeah.
and like, am I going to feel held coming up,
Yeah.
to be able to cross the river as opposed to be drowning in it, sort of thing.
Yeah. Yeah. And that is so good because, like, for somebody who's very analytical and just really in their heads about this, that is very scary because it's like, somebody like that, like that past version of myself is so used to blocking all the emotions like we were talking about and knowing that that's not safe to show them. So it's like, is this river of emotions going to come up if I start this process? That is really scary because it's been, for so long I was taught that emotions are bad. So, yeah, like that makes so much sense what you're saying. Hey, friend, quick question. When was the last time that you felt truly reset? If you've been pushing through exhaustion or kind of spinning your wheels, or maybe noticing that your energy is all over the place, I have something for you. I'm hosting a free 7-day nervous system reset challenge. And this round, I'm super excited to say that we are blending chakra alignment with the daily nervous system practices. So each day, you'll get a new tool like breath work, tapping, or sound healing paired with a chakra that it supports. This is going to be free, 7 days, very powerful, and truly amazing. So if you're ready to feel grounded, more energized, and reconnected to yourself in just 1 week, join us for free. The link is in the show notes below, or if you just go to Instagram, it is there in my bio for you. Can't wait to reset together.
Yeah. So I think that's a helpful, yeah, note that someone can take on board, no? Like having
Mm-hmm.
that information.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And even, yeah, that basically. And even if you're scared on that, can be something we can tap on, you can tap into that,
Yeah.
on just that trust. Like, you don't have to open up into anything, just on the
Yeah.
trust of it and the fear that's there. Like, what are you scared of? And making space for
Yeah.
that, and
Oh my
caretaking. Yeah.
gosh. God, that's so good. Yeah, just opening up like little by little, like just knowing that it's okay. Yeah. And I think too, like there's, like you said, there's that part of self-trust of knowing that I think, this is like I haven't even like really thought about this too much, but it's just coming up for me that I think our bodies are naturally going to release what it's ready to release, right? And I think that when you're first starting these modalities, I think that we get scared that too much is going to come out, but our body really is intuitively going to release in a pattern of what we can, hold, of what we can process. Like, that's just my thought.
I hear you and feel you, actually. And that's also, yeah, trusting the body. Just hearing you,
Yeah.
that, wow, it even makes me recognize now, like, what the spaces that I can still trust in my body and its
Hmm.
process, and honor its pacing, even if it seems slow,
Yeah.
which I feel like a lot of us can sometimes get
Yeah.
caught up in.
Yeah. Tell me
Yeah.
how are you using this like every day? Like how do you like this tool or other tools, like anything that you're doing for yourself? But I really would love to hear kind of like it's like, do you have like an alarm set on your phone, or like, like I'm just curious, like for the girl listening who's just kind of starting to get into this, it's like, how are you kind of practicing these things every day? Or is it like when something triggers you, are you going and sitting down and making time, or is this like a daily every morning when you wake up? Like how are you doing this?
Yeah. So right now in my structure, I have structure, but I'm also pretty flexible. I'm
Sure.
working with, yeah. So however, how I am playing with tapping, let's take the example of tapping
Yeah.
right now, is I love writing practice. So that's also a big part. I find
Okay.
writing a tool for self introspection as well. I think it's really beautiful and release in its own beautiful ways. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, tapping. So some days, you know, it will be it really is reflective of where I'm at as well, like whether I'm moving through something and it's this discomfort, and I can just be acknowledging it.
Okay.
And depending on how much time I choose to give in that moment, whether it be morning or evening or wherever I'm at, right? I have been in taxis where I have been tapping and like, I'm like, it's
Yeah.
okay, you know? So it's
Yeah.
like very versatile. But it can be something that I do from like 10 to 20 minutes, very spontaneous. Or I'm sitting down and I have these questions that I fill out to really we can have these dynamics play, and it's to get to the root to it through questions. So when I go into tapping, it's really clear and specific on what I'm going into. And I'm like, right, I'm going to spend this time, usually hour more or more, to really just tap into and feel what is around that. And there's a certain structure I use with these 4 sets. So I'd use that structure and it comes around. The last part is repatterning. So it's this
Okay.
idea of like, we have all this holding and acknowledgement for what the issue is.
Yeah.
And all that comes up in that in between space. And then at the end, it's this like looping down to repatterning, even if I'm at this place of like, you know what, I still don't know, but creating acceptance around that. Like, okay, or
Yeah.
best case scenario. Yeah, so those are the different rounds. It's like really focused, like this is a time dedication, or relaxed and playing. It's like, okay, I'm just gonna feel into myself, speak stuff out, or I'm just gonna tune into what I feel is true for me right now, using our bodies as the compass. So that's what it
So
looks like,
good.
if that's clear.
Yeah. Yeah. Can we touch on the writing that you're talking about? Like
Yeah.
this I this is where I'm not good. Yeah. I used to actually do that a lot more, but yeah. Anyways, cuz sometimes it's also very easy to get into your head when you start trying to write and like let it flow. But I would love to hear about this practice that you're doing too.
Okay. So right now it's pretty structured because
Okay.
I think this is where I feel like it's really beautiful and important to like subrayar, to say to each person, like really adapt it to you. Because obviously there's some people
Mhm.
who just want a page and they just want to free write like 3 pages
Mhm.
or just half a page. And there's people who are like, I need questions, like I need to
Yeah.
direct my attention, you know? So I'm sharing mine, but it's also like,
Yeah.
yeah, like really feel into what you need and why you're approaching writing. Are you approaching any tool? No, are you approaching it because it allows you to connect with yourself, or because you
Mm.
think you should, or it's like, you know, or
Yeah.
just playing with it. I just really wanted to say that beforehand before sharing how I use it. Um, so I usually do 4 like themes. So actually, essentially, it's sort of like, and it links to a tapping structure actually. But I allow essentially venting and expression to happen. Like I tune into where I'm at in that morning
Okay.
and just express like free writing for a few minutes, depending on how much time I've got or where I'm directing it. I do a few
Yeah.
minutes and then yeah, venting. I feel like same with tapping, right? You're like, why am I going into all this negative stuff? But it's like
Yeah.
it can be a really healthy, emotional, hygienic practice. And there's actually a study done. I wish I could Humberman. I can't remember, but that he goes into the how beneficial even writing resentments out can be, like that freeing from the body. So really acknowledging
Wow.
it. I feel like I didn't realize how much power and acknowledgement there is.
Yeah.
So usually I allow that to come up, and then I do go into like, okay, what am I like? What am I looking for? What would I like to happen? Like the best case scenario, which can also be edgy at times or really fun depending on where you're at. It's very reflective, you know? That's one form. I feel like there's so many forms of
Sure.
writing, or you can just get prompts and really go into the topic that you're living. Um, but that's like a generalized like way. Hmm.
just like as a way to really rediscover yourself and like really get in tune, you know? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that's so beautiful. I just have to say, like, thank you so much for coming on and like for sharing all of this and just yeah, like truly I love learning about all the different ways that people are using tools and what led them into this and how we can do, you know, how we can use these things to like better our lives and create more happiness. I would love to just ask, you know, if you have anything coming up, if you have any ways that we can work with you, where we can find you, and then if you'll leave us after that with just kind of like a self-care tip or something.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Definitely. By the way, I love your curiosity and your excitement that I can feel with your
Oh, thank
questions.
you.
I love it. So thank you as well.
Yay. Yeah.
So I'm on the main platform I'm using at the moment is Instagram. At the moment, I'm as Journey in dot into dot Eden. And
Cool.
I'm creating something new, so there'll be updates on there. And at the moment, what I'm doing is tapping sessions. So I'm actually just in the setup of like actually making like a discovery call, like option available, and
Yay.
just so we can tap tap on not tap base, touch base
Yeah.
and fit into each other and see if we're, you know,
Yeah.
see what you need holding in basically and what you want to delve into. So and then there'll be like packaging and
Cool.
it's very flexible. I'm just figuring it all out, but there's that
Yeah.
like availability. And I really am looking forward to creating a space online to do tapping circles, which is really
Nice.
cool because you can be in the comfort of your own home. And
Wow.
obviously your mic's off, so you can say whatever comes up. And it's very,
Yeah.
there's that aspect of being guided, but also you're having your own experience. And at the end, I want to see that aspect of community and sharing, like, is just so beautiful. And sometimes that like that relatability that comes up of like someone expressing something and they're like, oh my God, me too. I didn't even know that, but yes. And it's so beautiful.
Yeah. Like that
That
community processing
processing
aspect. It's
aspect,
so
it's so
important.
important.
I
Yeah.
love that.
So tapping into
Yay.
that. But at the moment, that's that. If you'd like to connect, then yeah, reach out to
Yeah.
me on Instagram and we can see if you'd like to be supported in a direction or if there's certain things that you know that that you'd already like to delve into, right?
Yeah.
With a lot of honor and compassion.
I love
Um,
it.
tip. These change. um, no. Right now, because this is a tip I'm giving to myself right now. So I could say writing, tapping, yoga. These are all things that I've really contributed. So if they resonate with you, then I'd go into that. But right now, like that connection with other people, that community aspect, and also joy and fun. Like
Yeah.
especially if like consciously on this healing journey and just bringing in aspects that it light you up and bring joy. I think that's something I'm just bringing into my life more. So that's where it's coming from here. It's like, oh, I'm going to give that tip because that's something I'm inviting myself into more. And
Yeah.
like pleasure. Yeah. Like, what is it in life that you could offer yourself every day that invites you into like joy or yourself? And even if it's not joy, like freedom or just there's an aspect there to do with joy and being soft on ourselves, I think. Um, it's not exactly a specific tip. It's going to be each person sees what they want to
Yeah.
bring in, right? But that
Yeah.
invitation to be like connect and joy, whether that be connecting with yourself in a different way or
Yeah.
connecting to others. But yeah,
I love it.
I hope that
Well,
will.
thank
So,
you so, so much, Eden, for coming on and just for sharing everything with us. And I'll make sure that, you know, everything is linked in the show notes as well so we can connect with you. But I can't say
thank
thank you enough.
you. It's received beautifully. And thank you to you, Audrey, as well. reciprocal. I love that you're sharing this. Yeah, it's really beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you for tuning in to another amazing episode of the Ready to Rise podcast. It means so much to me to have you here and to get to share all of this with you. If this one resonated, literally just send this to a friend, share it with her right now, because there's so many women out there who really need this information. And I would also love it if you could take a quick screenshot, throw it up on Instagram, tag me at Hello Audrey Rose so that I can connect with you and get to know you. But thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you so much. Have a blessed and beautiful day, and I will see you next time.